We don't even know if what we think will work because we haven't actually put the thing to work. I know each and every one of you guys sitting here has an idea that you may never figure out whether it will work because you never put it to work. I've sat on ideas for years just to see somebody else do it or to see the time pass by and the opportunity is gone. We talked about some of this on Smart Goals about deadlines that have deadlines and deadlines that really don't have deadlines because they're just dreams. They're just visions. There's no one holding you accountable for this. In fact, if you never did it, no one would ever know. So how do you do work, and how many hours of productive work are you really doing when it comes to your vision? It amazes me how much I see the expectation of real results without the input of real work. It does not align. And in 2025, I want us to eliminate false work from our lives. And here's how we're going to do it.
You're listening to the Build Your Vision podcast, a podcast series about maneuvering the ups and downs of building a life that you're proud of, captured in real time. A community where dreamers become doers, and doers become world changers. Let's go.
So according to research done by Voucher Cloud, almost 2,000 office workers, the average worker is only truly productive around 2.5 to 3 hours a day during the 8-hour workday. Meaning that most people spend significant amounts of time, significant portions of their workday on non-work related items, activities like scrolling on social media, reading the news, or casual conversations with colleagues, not to include meetings and extended lunch breaks. Now, I don't know how many of you guys work in a traditional office settings, but I believe one of the reasons why The Office was such a smash hit series is because the show reflected a real dynamic that existed in the corporate world. Everyone knew a Jim, everyone knew a Dwight, everyone knew a character on that staff that reminded them of their work and how it went. And I don't know about you, I've watched a lot of episodes of The Office. I can't remember many episodes where they're doing productive work. I don't even know how Dunder Mifflin's still in business, to be honest. When are they working? But it reflects something that is actually a fact in the workplace. I remember my boss was out the office for this month on parental leave. If I had $100 for each time somebody walked into the office looking for my boss for no reason other than just to chat, I would probably quit my job and invest in real estate full time by now. Like it was ridiculous. Well, what do you? He's not here. What are you here for? Just checking up on him, seeing if he's okay. You could just say you just wanted to talk. Like, when are we actually working? So if this is the case when you have a boss, when there is a deadline, when we are under data, documents, and deadlines that we have to be accountable to, what do you think it's like when it's just you? What is it like when it's just us and we have work to do? When you're the boss, when you're the deadline, when you're the leader, when you're the executor, when you're the finisher, when you're the visionary. And I remember we talked about some of this on Smart Goals about deadlines that have deadlines and deadlines that really don't have deadlines because they're just dreams. They're just visions. There's no one holding you accountable for this. In fact, if you never did it, no one would ever know. So how do you do work, and how many hours of productive work are you really doing when it comes to your vision? In 2025, as a visionary family, I really want us to eliminate one thing from our lives, and that is the expectation of real results in our lives without putting in real work. It amazes me that myself included, how often I talk to visionaries pretty much all day. Even at my day job, I work for a company called the Dream Collective. Like this is what we do, vision stuff. It amazes me how much I see the expectation of real results without the input of real work. It does not align. And in 2025, I want us to eliminate false work from our lives. And here's how we're going to do it. I want to share with you four things, four types of work, because it's not going to happen this year. I know that we have our words for 2025. I know that we have expectations. I know that we're walking in faith, but I'm telling you, it will not happen without real work. We don't even know if what we think will work because we haven't actually put the thing to work. I know each and every one of you guys sitting here has an idea that you may never figure out whether it will work because you never put it to work. I've sat on ideas for years just to see somebody else do it or to see the time pass by and the opportunity is gone. That cannot be us in 2025. So here, the first step in behavioral change we know is awareness. So I want to make you aware of four types of work, and which ones you need to avoid and which ones you need to adopt. Is it okay if I share with you guys real quick? So first one, write this down. Fear work. Fear work. This is the first type of work. And each type of work has something that fuels it. You don't just get up and work for the cause of working. There's something that's fueling that work, some type of intentionality, some type of motivation. And what fuels fear work is anxiety. Fear work is fueled by anxiety. You work not because you know where you're going, you work because you're afraid what will happen if you stand still. Fear work. This leads to work that you're not really that proud of. And this also leads to work that you're not quite aligned with because you never took the time to recalibrate. Fear work. You're like, I gotta be, if I'm not doing something, I feel like I'm failing. Work out of anxiety, work out of fear. If I don't work, someone's going to pass me up. If I don't work, God may not bless me. If I don't work, I'm not going to be enough. Fear work, fueled by anxiety. Number two, fake work. Fake work is fueled by comparison. This is when you operate as a poser and not a producer. This is taking photos of you at the gym, giving the illusion that you work out when you know it's your first time there in 32 days. Okay? I'm gonna have to be on your edges tonight. Mine too. My hairline's gonna be real crispy. Okay? It's posting your work session at the coffee shop knowing that it's the first time you worked on this project in weeks. It's telling your colleagues about your planning and your research and development and your acquisition of new technologies when you haven't actually implemented any of those things. It's vision boarding, it's brainstorming, it's dream casting. Fake work gives the illusion of progress when little to none is actually happening. If you were to ask the outside world, yeah, it looks like they're doing stuff. From what they said, it sounds like it's going great. From what they showed me, it looks like they're doing big things. But you have this complex, this discontent because you know you actually haven't done much. Fake work. So first one is fear work. The second is fake work. Number three is familiar work. Familiar work is fueled by complacency. You do what you know because it is familiar. This leads to you doing more of what's not working or more of what got you here but won't get you there because it's familiar. But you feel better about yourself because at least you could tell yourself, I'm doing something. But real work requires you to embrace the unfamiliar. Familiar work. I know how to do this, so I'm just going to keep doing that. I know that I'm comfortable in this area and I can excel here because I've done it before. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I know I could talk to this person even though I feel called to talk to that person, but I'm going to stay here because at least I know what I'll get when I do this. Familiar work. You're doing something. It's not like you're sitting on your laurels. You're working, but it's work in your comfort zone. Number four. So first one is fear work. The second is fake work. The third is familiar work. The last one here, actually no, second to last one, I'll explain why I made that mistake soon, is for real work. For real work. For real work is fueled by faith. For real work is work that directly impacts and serves your audience. This is for real work. Now, I don't want you to get me wrong on this. I'm not knocking brainstorming. I'm not knocking vision boarding. I'm not knocking dream casting. I'm not knocking taking time to think. I'm not knocking making partnerships and having meetings. Those things are important, but they do not yield real results in the real world because they just aren't real work. Real work, this is how you define it, is work that directly impacts and serves your audience. And a lot of times, this will require you to reside in the unfamiliar, to be uncomfortable, to try new things, to embrace new technologies, to invest in yourself, to be willing to look foolish. Real work holds you accountable because it's public. There is no such thing. I saw this trending for a long time, like on social media. This thing, this concept of working in silence. Oh, just disappear for a year and work in silence. For visionpreneurs, for kingdom people, that's not a real thing. Now, there is something such as working in obscurity, meaning you don't work in private, because that would be working in silence. But your work in public may feel like it's private because no one cares yet. And you keep working in public until the public knows your work. There's a difference. Working in silence is self-centered. Working in public is other-centered. If you work in private, that means you're working for yourself and not for others. And that is not the way of the kingdom. A visionpreneur is someone who makes impact and income with their ideas, insights, and influence. You can't impact anybody if you aren't public. Now remember, obscurity, that means you could feel like you're alone, but you're still working in public. You're still looking to help others. You're still working with who's right in front of you. You're still actively getting your hands dirty in real work that impacts and serves your audience. So number one, fear work. Number two, fake work. Number three, familiar work. Those are things that we want to avoid. But number four, we want to adopt for real work. And number five is foundational work. Now, I had to touch on this because I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, you're saying that all work has to be public? What if God is hiding me for a season? Or what if that's not aligned with my walk and my journey? I want to keep this in here for you. Foundational work. You can work on yourself, yes, and it can be done in private. But foundations were meant to support something. My admonition is to make sure you put something on that foundation. When God says it's time, put something on that foundation. Not out of fear, not out of fakeness, not out of familiarity, but out of faith. All of you guys right now are doing foundational work by being in this school. And I applaud you for that. But we want to put some for real work on top of that foundation. Here is what I want us to do in 2025. I want us to commit to one piece of for real work in 2025. Just one. It doesn't have to be only one, but just one that we could commit to right now. Something that directly impacts your person or people that you serve. Write it down and commit to it. This could be posting every day on social media. It could be posting every week on YouTube. It could be going to people in your community and actually offering your services to help them. It could be making an offer. It could be starting an initiative at your place of work that aligns with your visionary work. Something that is beyond planning, beyond brainstorming, beyond vision casting, beyond researching, beyond branding. This is the only way that we're going to get the results that we're looking for in 2025. It cannot be familiar. It cannot be fake. It cannot be fearful. It has to be faith driven for real work built on a strong foundation. So this was a complete audible that I called. I was not planning on talking about this today, but I hope this is helpful for you. And please feel free to put this in the community. What's your commitment? What's your for real work commitment this year? Just one thing for the entire year. I know I'm committing to being more active on social media this year, actively engaging with my audience, posting regularly. That's real work. I've done a lot of fake work for that. I have scripts out the wazoo that I have never posted. It's not real work, fake work, familiar work. So, does anybody have any questions on this or even for something beyond this that you're working on in your visionpreneur journey? We'll transition into some Q&A.